Yo, hello everybody and welcome back yet again to another daily update video. My name is CryptoStash and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing bullish week, since right now let's get right into the charts, as Ethereum has just pushed that 4000 region. Basically we are back again. We tagged 4K right now, as you can see yesterday in my video. Ethereum $4,000 coming very soon. Basically you can see we predicted everything, this perfect bounce from that weekly pivot that we've had, and this perfect tag of the second weekly pivot resistance you can see right here, which we broke that resistance and we broke that previous high that we previously rejected from, and right now price is still pushing higher. It also all depends on the stock market and on Bitcoin. The stock market right now you can see we did get a very bullish New York open. Basically the price of the S&P 500 and Nasdaq pumped, I think, around 0.5%. As you can see we did open bullish, and since this morning basically we have pumped almost 1.4%, you can see. And Bitcoin, let's get right now into Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently struggling. Let me just go on a hard time frame. You can see Bitcoin currently struggling to reclaim that value area low. We actually did test it and we managed to get above it, but then we got rejected, and right now you can see price is starting once again to test that value area low level right here. So maybe we do see something like this, a rejection, go down to that weekly pivot basically again, and then we see that pump to the upside, which is also going to take us back to that value area high, which is currently sitting at 120k, and 120k is also our second weekly pivot resistance, you can see right here, which is actually my target for this week. And also if we look at the liquidation heat map, you can see we are very close to this liquidity. So we just want to see Bitcoin push and get this liquidity swept up. That's sitting on the upside. You can see we've got liquidity all the way up to 123k, which is basically our all-time high that we have made previously. But we do have a big liquidation cluster that's sitting just at 120k, which is basically perfectly that second weekly pivot resistance, which is why this is my target for this week. Also, let's go back again into the stock market. The stock market right now for the week, you can see basically we are pushing, still remaining bullish. If we draw a trend line from this bottom that we made right here, basically you can see price has perfectly retested the weekly pivot and retested that trend line today, and is right now pushing higher. So as I am always saying, we need the stock market to continue pushing higher in order for Bitcoin to also keep rising. Now let's look at the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance is currently falling and potentially has started the second drop that we had right here. If we get another big drop to the downside and close a candle below this very important trend line, let's look at it on the lower time frame. You can see basically on the lower time frame we did get a very nice rejection from the weekly pivot. As I said in the previous videos, we do not want to see the weekly pivot broken. We want to see a rejection from that weekly pivot in order for price to drop, and this is exactly what we got. And right now price is testing the second weekly support, you can see the pivot support, and right now if we break down the next target, that would take us down to 59%, and that would potentially make Ethereum, and not only Ethereum, the other altcoins, Solana is back almost under at this value area high range. Let me show you on a bigger time frame so you can see better. Basically Solana is almost pushing hard, broke above the weekly pivot, and we want to see a break out of this value area high. Basically this high right here, we want to see it break out and flip as support in order for Solana to finally continue hard. Sui has been doing very well after bouncing from this POC right here, not perfectly, but we managed to hold this POC level, and right now price is pushing again back at $3.83, which is very nice. Hype is also, as I said, back above $40. We broke that weekly pivot, and right now we are pushing hard. As I mentioned in my previous videos, we wanted to see hype, broke the weekly pivot, and this is exactly what is happening right now. You can see perfect break of this level and a retest, and right now we are pushing hard. So basically a very nice textbook play from hype. XRP also, after bouncing from the weekly pivot, has pushed to that second weekly pivot resistance 12.7%, which is actually very nice for XRP. But right now you can see Ethereum is pushing hard. Basically right now we are having a small correction, potentially testing that second weekly pivot resistance as support, and then potentially we can go up to 4,100 or maybe even higher. The price target for this week, in my opinion, would be this weekly pivot resistance 4,003, almost 4,040, 400 basically for Ethereum. That would be my target, since also if we look at the fear and greed index, we are almost back at that greed zone, and once we get back into that greed zone, it is very possible that we can go into that extreme greed. And if we are in extreme greed, the price of Bitcoin, in my opinion, would be pretty much very high. But right now what we need to look out for on the daily is a swing failure pattern from these previous highs right here that Ethereum has had before. So if we go up to 4,100 potentially, it is possible that we see a rejection, another drop basically down to this low. So we need to look out for this. Basically we want to be careful right here, but in my opinion this won't be the case, since if we look at our indicators, our daily momentum RSI has not yet hit that overbought territory like we got right here. We want to see the RSI indicator turn green, and then we can see potentially a correction. But right now on the weekly we are kind of we were overbought, and right now we are pointing up, so potentially we can test that 80 line on the weekly. So we might see one more week of bullish price action, which, as I have told you, might take us up to that target, in my opinion, if we do not reject from that previous high. But with momentum this strong, I don't think this will happen. It depends what Bitcoin does, and it also depends what the stock market does, and also if Bitcoin dominance wants to keep breaking lower. What we don't want to see is a fake out like the one we got right here, to get basically some fake out and then reclaim, and for Bitcoin dominance to start pushing hard. That would be good for Bitcoin, but it won't be good for the expected alt season that everybody has been waiting for. So we want to see, as I said, a breakdown finally of this structure that has been going on for around, let me measure it, around 1000 days, so very long time. If we get finally a breakdown of the structure basically and flip bearish finally, then we'll start seeing that the actual alt season would be here. But as of right now, we want to see what the Bitcoin dominance will do. We want to see if Bitcoin will reclaim this value area low, basically very important level right here. And if we sweep that liquidity that's sitting at 120k, in my opinion, we might continue hard to the all-time high, or maybe create a new all-time high and get back into that price discovery. And then we can see our final target, in my opinion, for the year, which would be 150k for Bitcoin. It might happen, it might not, nobody knows, but this is what I am expecting. And Q4 is yet to come, you know, the quarterly for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is usually the most bullish months of crypto during the year. So we'll see what happens. And yes guys, that would be it for today's update video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for my channel, follow me on X, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.